All right. Good afternoon, good morning, and good night. I'm here with Johnny Poulos or Poulos.
Poulos.
Poulos. Okay, I've always wondered that. Johnny Poulos and Lukas Fronzoli. Am I saying that correctly as well? Yeah. We are all alumni of Broadneck High School, and we are old fogies this year and celebrating our 20th
crazy.
20th reunion. And isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I'm looking at both of you right now, and you both definitely look like high school still, but you have, a few more experience lines perhaps, or maybe a couple more gray. Do you feel older?
Absolutely.
Do you feel older? Lucas is like, yep.
I really don't in a lot of ways.
Okay. I mean, you're still seeing your Captain, Marvel movies.
Yeah. I mean, I got kids and I have responsibilities and stuff. But I mean,
see, I don't have any of that. It just hurts to sit down and stand up. So.
See, I don't have any of that going on. Knock on wood.
That's awesome.
But like my interests haven't really changed. Back then I was into rock music. I'm still into rock music. Back then I read comic books. I still read comic books. Back then I played video games. I still play video games.
Do you think your kids keep you young a little bit?
I think so, yeah.
You get to share some of those interests with them?
Absolutely, yeah.
When you talk about listening to rock and roll, I was just reading something about this the other day, and since we're all three come from a rock and roll background, let me ask you this. What kind of rock and roll are you listening to today? Is it all classic? It's got to be at this point, no? I mean, even 98 Rock is going classic rock because...
Definitely still a lot of 90s era stuff, but there's a few... select things out of the newer realm of music that are highly listenable.
Yeah.
Arctic Monkeys.
Okay.
Yeah, Arctic Monkeys are great.
Do you consider them rock and roll?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, their new record, not so much, but everything else is great rock and roll.
Right.
I should probably have excluded that new record.
Like, I think the most interesting stuff going on in rock music, like 2018, 2019, is on the metal side of things.
That's where the virtuoso. That's all like where the really good players tend to go.
Well, like
progressive people.
Yeah, there's a lot of prog stuff. Like I've really like Unearth. I really like Every Time I Die. There are a lot of heavy bands that I'm really, really into. There's not a lot of like good rock and roll outside of like Foo Fighters,
right?
Queens of the Stone Age.
Right.
I mean, they're kind of few and far between, unfortunately, as far as like just good rock.
I don't know how you guys. I know some rockers love these guys and some rockers hated these guys. I happen to be one that I loved them, but I was always a huge Linkin Park fan, and I was devastated last year. I think that was another '90s era, early 2000s era rock thing that was still going strong, but then now obviously with Chester. But
I never really hated on them, but they were kind of hit or miss for me.
Okay,
that's kind of where I was at.
Yeah.
Some songs, some albums I really liked. Some songs, some albums I wasn't really that into.
I always connected with Chester's lyrics, which always makes me worry when I like, I used to be a big Kurt Cobain guy, and and then now, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, but nevertheless,
he had that same sizzle in his voice that the guy from Filter has, where he's able to scream a note. There's not many people that have ever really been able to do that.
It's amazing what he can do.
Kurt Cobain,
right?
Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington, the guy from Filter, and I guess Dave Grohl. I can't think of a lot of other people that could do that, scream into a note. Video game streaming, and it's the same thing for me. I could play a game all night, every day, no issue, but then when I'm like, okay, cool, it's stream time, let me tweet about it, let me get some people on here, I got people in, and it, like, the game's playing like crap, or it crashes.
It's like trying to take a video, fucking playing a new song or something.
Yep.
You can have it right for days, and then as soon as you hit record on something, you're going to mess it up 12 times.
Yeah.
That's actually a question that I was going to ask as far as, and we're going to kind of just go transition.
That's fine. Yeah.
Is I have always played music, but I have never played live. And I think that I would, it's obviously partly stage fright, but it's partially what you were just saying, Lucas, which is you could have something pitch perfect, note perfect when you're in rehearsal or whatever, and then you go out on stage and you just...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, do you guys have that? And how do you overcome it? What do you,
You just go with it.
You just go with it? You're cool with...
Like, I've set up practicing, like, for some tribute gig or something, David Gilmour guitar solos. And I'm like, all right, I got this down. Perfect. And then we're on stage, and you hit the first note, and you hold it for, like, a quarter beat too long, and now you're screwed. You lost your timing, and you just got to take what you can out of it and put together something that's there. Like, just mess with the timing a little bit. You just got to make it yours.
Right.
Well, I mean, for me, as far as, like, being nervous performing live, it never really bothered me in a band situation because it's a team. You've got multiple people.
Right.
And even when you miss a note, even when you sing the wrong lyric, 90% of the audience doesn't notice.
And you have someone there to laugh with.
Right. And your bandmate will always look at you like, I caught that. You think you got away with that bad note, but you didn't. I heard that note.
Right.
But they kind of laugh it off. I mean, the first time I was, like, truly nervous, I'd been performing for 10, 12 years. I had written a solo song, and they put it on the Acme compilation, the Acme bar in downtown Annapolis.
Yeah.
And they had an event for the CD release. And so it was like Jarflies and Judd and Maggie and the Geckos and Dean Rosenthal, and like every big artist in Annapolis was there.
Right.
And then Johnny Poulos is on the bill. And I'd played acoustic solo several times, but it'd always been in the format of like an open mic. A lot of people aren't paying attention. I'm just kind of the dude singing in a bar, and occasionally get the attention of a few people. This was like shoulder to shoulder, completely packed. You could barely walk in. I literally walked in with my guitar. I was like, and I went straight to the bar. It was like 2 shots of Patron and a beer, please. Boop. And just because, like, otherwise I would have been a ball of nerves. Yes.
So he didn't have the comfort of having that band.
No, but that's the thing. If it had been a band, I think it would have been all right. And that was the thing. Most of that bill was bands.
Okay.
But this was me.
Just you.
By myself.
Oh, my God.
With a guitar. Bar, you could not walk in the bar.
You're describing my anxiety.
I was terrified.
Yeah.
And we're talking, this was after, like, Hybrid had played shows for 300, 400 people and had people, like, crowd surfing and singing every word to our lyrics. Didn't bother my nerves at all because it was a band. Solo is a completely different endeavor.
George Harrison once said that he always felt bad for Elvis because it was just Elvis. Whereas the Beatles, it was John, Paul, George, Ringo. You know what I mean? They at least had that thing going on there. Now, so let's talk a little bit. Let's go back a little bit to high school. So, or probably before, Johnny, when did you start playing guitar, and when did you start playing with a band?
I started playing guitar when I was 13, and I got the guitar because I was already in a band. You got a band. You got in a band before you could even play the instrument. Yes.
Nice. Typical middle school. I'm going to conquer the world.
It was myself, Stephen Berkeley, Brandon Thompson, and Lucas Fronzoli. And literally deciding who did what. I became the lead singer because I was in chorus class at school.
Okay.
So I had to be the singer.
You were the singer, yeah.
Steve's dad had a guitar hanging on the wall, so he became the guitar player. That's literally how the band formed. It was just like, well, I mean, I've got this. Okay, cool, you're guitar. Because we're going to start a band.
Right.
And that's literally how we started.
And I already had a drum kit, so I was the drummer.
And I assume you guys lived nearby each other. Where'd you guys grow up?
Kind of. We were all sort of in that Arnold area.
Okay. So, and you guys knew each other beforehand, just based on...
Luke and I went to preschool together.
Is that right? You can go back that far?
We go back way far.
Wow. What elementary school did you guys go to?
Actually, Liz was...
I don't think we went to the same elementary school.
No.
Okay.
I went to Arnold. You went to Broadneck?
Yeah.
Okay. I moved here in middle school, so I didn't go to any of the elementary, so I don't remember who went where, but I started 6th grade, Magathie River. And then that's, I think... Do you remember, Johnny, were the guitar classes a middle school thing or a high school thing? I couldn't remember that.
I think they started in junior high.
Because there was something I was talking to.
I know the guitar rooms were at Severn and Magathie.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And that's where I remember us taking the guitar classes. Right. But because we spent, of course, the first 2 years of high school in Severn River, I couldn't remember if we were still in junior high.
That's a really good point. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I couldn't tell you exactly what grades.
I was also expelled one of those years.
Oh, is that right?
I don't. Why were you expelled? I don't remember that.
For a pocket knife.
I do remember that. Okay.
Wow. Interesting. And so, Lukas, let's go back to you. You had already had a drum kit, so tell me a little bit about where your musical up and comings come.
Like I started the snare drum in 3rd or 4th grade, whatever,
and your parents
in elementary
were,
school.
Or was it a parents thing, or were just you were doing it at school?
No, it was. I wanted something that I could beat the hell out of and not be wrong for doing it.
Gotcha.
It was a drum.
Yeah.
And 6th grade, I got more drums. Cool.
Right.
There's more stuff to beat on.
Yeah. Did you ever take like music class or anything like that? Did you ever learn officially?
Private lessons for like a year on drums.
Okay.
But pretty much self-taught and just learning from friends on guitar, bass, ukulele, all the other nonsense that I play with.
Did you both find that you just had like a aptitude for it, that you could kind of pick it up and figure it out, whereas maybe some other kids, they try, but it wasn't...
Kinda.
I don't know. What do you think?
I am a firm believer that anyone can sing, anyone can paint or draw, anyone can do any of those things. It just comes down to wanting to do it and practicing.
Right.
Like, period.
Finding the time to do it.
You ask any famous artist, how did you pick it up and know me? They're like, no, I practiced. How did you get so good at guitar? I practiced.
Right.
Like, that's all it is.
Yeah.
And I, especially with all the years that I worked in guitar stores, I mean, I've seen 70-year-old people come in and be like, I've always wanted to play guitar, and I'm getting old, so I'm going to do it.
Right.
I'm going to buy a guitar, and I'm going to take lessons, and you know what happens? They learn how to play guitar.
Right.
Anyone can play music.
Right.
So anyone listening to this podcast that's always had an interest in anything creative,
Right.
don't listen to the voice in your head that says you're a bad singer.
Right.
I was the worst singer, but I had to practice.
I was going to say, did you practice on your own? Did you take lessons, anything, or?
For singing, I took a couple private lessons that just, I wasn't using the different parts of my voice properly.
Right.
I wasn't warming up properly. I wasn't practicing, like, proper breathing.
Right.
But, I mean, that was literally all I learned in the lessons. Beyond that, everything else has just been self-taught and just practice. That's really it.
All those things help you with the stamina, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah, being able to... Do you find it difficult, the old adage of being able to play and sing at the same time? Does that come into a difficult...
It goes back to exactly what I was saying
just
before.
Practicing.
It's all practice.
Yeah.
There have been so many songs where when I'm playing it on guitar and I try to sing it, I think there's no way. There's no way I'm ever going to be able to play and sing the song at the same time.
Yeah.
But muscle memory is a hell of a thing. And if you get to a point where you're no longer... As soon as you can play the song and go, oh, so tomorrow for lunch I'm going to have... Well, okay, when I go to the grocery store, I mean, there's been times when I'm playing my open mic and I'm paying attention to what's on the TV in the back of the bar. I'm thinking about what I have to accomplish at work tomorrow. I'm thinking about what time I need to go to bed and set my alarm for. And then I'm like, oh, the song's done. And I'm talking literally, I played the entire verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, outro, and I'm not even aware or conscious of any of it.
Yeah, you just planned your whole next day.
I'm just literally, and that's, when you get to that point, you can play the song and not think about it, then all of a sudden singing, it's not so hard.
Not so hard. Did you guys have musical inspirations within your family? Like, any of your parents musically inclined or interested at all?
No. My dad used to play a little bit of stuff back when he was a kid, but it didn't continue. Like, I wasn't around it growing up, really.
Right.
Yeah, no one in my family had musical talent. My mom likes to sing and has always liked to sing.
Yeah.
She was a big music fan, though, and I think it's probably the same with your parents. I think both of our parents were avid music listeners.
They didn't play, but they listened.
They loved music.
Absorbed,
I mean,
when
I remember riding with my mom to visit Grandma when I was probably 7 or 8, and we'd be listening to the Poulos and U2 and Genesis and Phil Collins, and my parents had good taste. You know what I mean? I wasn't listening to crap. I was listening to music I still enjoy.
It's funny. I was going to say, what about... So you named some of those bands. I was going to say the one thing I remember as a kid is Billy Joel. What is your...
Actually, my mom was around the same lines as that.
Yeah.
I'd have to definitely add Tears for Fears.
Oh, yeah. Tears for Fears was on the list.
Fleetwood Mac.
The
Fleetwood
80s.
Mac was on the list,
Okay. All right. Yeah, I remember vividly. I still to this day... Travelin' Prayer by Billy Joel on Piano Man. It was the first opening track. And, like, what an obscure song, but to this day, I still remember the goosebumps I felt when I was, like, 4, 5, 6 listening to it with my mom.
I actually got the newest version of my dad's favorite album on vinyl.
Nice.
Just because...
Isn't that funny how it's coming back?
Madman Across the Water is just an amazing album.
Name some of your personal... I mean, obviously your parents had, influence on, like, the bands that you just named. What are some of your favorite bands growing up? What were some of your musical influences?
Shit.
I put you on the spot.
Before grunge hit,
okay,
my favorite band was U2.
Ooh.
I really, I absolutely adored Octung Baby. I mean, I that was like the first CD I wore out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When grunge hit, I was a little early on it. Like I was very into Alice in Chains, and Alice in Chains happened a bit before Nirvana really broke.
One of my absolute favorite
Me
bands.
too.
Do you know, I think Alice in Chains is actually not the more respectable, because I like Nirvana, I like Pearl Jam, I like those guys, but I feel, and Soundgarden too especially, but I feel like Alice in Chains now, their music stands up more now than some of the other...
I agree. Well, and I also feel that Alice in Chains, if you spoke to someone 20 years from now and went, what's grunge? I would just play Alice in Chains.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of bands that were lumped in there. Like, people called Pearl Jam grunge.
Yeah.
Pearl Jam's a bar band.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
They called Soundgarden grunge. Soundgarden's grunge, but they're also very, very, very prog. You know, they called Smashing Pumpkins grunge. Smashing Pumpkins is like experimental fuzz rock.
Right.
You know what I mean? The only band I would like call like grunge, quote unquote grunge, Alice in Chains.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they were one of the really big ones.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, you name any of those bands from that era, we were on it.
Yeah, what about...
Alice in Chains, Pumpkins, Stone Temple Pilots.
I was just about to say Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah, we rocked all that stuff.
I went and saw Pumpkins not too long ago.
Is that right? Okay.
He texted me and I had to... It was like such last minute, I had to close that day. I couldn't get out of work.
Yeah,
I was pissed.
that's a bummer. That is a bummer. Do you guys have any classic rock influences? Like, that's actually where my biggest influences are.
I mean, Pink Floyd is probably still my favorite band.
I'm actually reading a long analysis of The Wall and like all the symbolism and things like that in that. And I haven't actually watched the movie in years, but I actually really want to watch it again because of what I'm reading here. I love Pink Floyd.
So, I like all of it, but the Roger Waters era stuff is still, I think, the best written.
I would agree
Animals has got to be, my favorite.
Animals. I love, I actually play along to Sheep a lot, and Dogs is probably one of my underrated Pink Floyd songs of all time, for sure. What was I going to ask? You said Pink Floyd, and then Roger Waters era. I will say yes to all of that, except for the final cut. I thought that was weak. But
it was.
They were all pissed off at each other by then.
Weird
anyway.
World War stories and nonsense. It was,
Do you like any part of the Syd Barrett era? Have you done the Piper at the Gates?
It's got its qualities.
Right, exactly.
Like, I can listen to it. It's not. I haven't gone out to buy it on vinyl.
Yes.
But I like it.
I have a weird thing with Sid and that era of Pink Floyd, and Steve, my husband, despises every second of it. So it's an acquired taste of Pink Floyd. Yes.
Yeah, I'm with him.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Most people are. I like the story of it though. The interesting. What about things like we're huge Rush fans here. Obviously,
Definitely
the Beatles are kind of
love Rush and Beatles. Yeah.
We took Julia on the R40
I'm
tour.
big time Beatles. I never really got into Rush.
No, I didn't either.
One of the like
recently.
And this is like major classic rock. This is old stuff. One of the first things that started my fascination with the sound of an electric guitar was my dad's vinyl collection in the basement. There was a lot of stuff you'd expect, Iron Butterfly, Anagata Davida, and Meatloaf and stuff like that. But in that, yes, absolutely. But in that pile of vinyls, there were a couple records by the Ventures, and the Ventures were. They were the founding fathers of surf rock, and they were instrumental only. There were no lyrics at all.
Okay.
But it was all just classic surf rock.
That's awesome.
And I still love the Ventures.
I actually wish that you had told me that in college. I used to use a lot of that when I was a disc jockey on air. You'd have background music, and I always found that surf music, instrumental surf music, was the best background.
The Ventures.
Yeah, okay.
The Ventures.
That's cool. I'll have to check them out. That's cool.
That's
amazing.
Cool.
And so, do you think that you were able to, whether consciously or subconsciously, put some of these influences into what music you as you were talking about with hybrid and stuff, and some of your were you guys ever in a band later together, or was it just the early?
We were
band?
in what?
Yeah.
We were in what from when I was 13 to about 16.
Okay, okay. Drums, guitar, Johnny to Lukas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then name some of the bands. I mean, was hybrid the main thing, or were there others?
Hybrid was the main one for me. I mean, as far as like length of time.
What kind of places, what kind of venues would you guys play?
Woods Community Church in Severna Park was a big one.
Yep.
Mayo Kiwanis Club right out there in Edgewater was another big one. Paisanos, when Paisanos was still doing shows in Annapolis.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I remember Good Charlotte opened up for us a couple times.
Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah.
Actually, the dad of Good Charlotte hit on me once, and I was like, he hit on. It was so funny, right in front of Steve.
I knew that they were gonna blow up.
Were you? Did you?
I was in Coffee Gurus in downtown Annapolis. I walked in with Steve, the other guitar player in my band, and there were these two pretty boy twins, and they were harmonizing together, and they had the same voice. Like one would sing, and the other would come in, and you're like, okay, they're twins, and they sound the same.
Right.
Their songs are catchy,
Right.
and I looked at Steve, and I was like, they're gonna get signed.
They're good looking too.
And he's like, really? I don't know. I'm not really into them. I was like, every girl in this entire place right now is like,
Right.
and they're twins,
Yep.
and they're harmonizing, and their songs are catchy.
Right.
They're going to get signed.
Right.
And it was like literally like a year later they were on TRL.
I seem to recall seeing them on one of the side stages at HF Festival one year,
Yeah.
being like, and then later hearing about
They
them.
played.
And being like,
I remember that. They played the Doc Martens tent.
I think that was right. Yeah,
I remember that. I remember that.
You guys frequent HF festivals? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't do that one.
Didn't
a
do
lot.
that.
Oh,
No.
man, you missed out.
Any reason why not? Like, let's
fantastic
talk
shows.
about your musical influences, Lukas. I mean, what kind of bands were you playing in? What kind of shows were you going to see?
I mean, all kinds of stuff. Like, a lot of my playing has just been bar band, cover music on any given instrument.
Any favorite covers that you like to do?
I don't know. They're all fun. It depends on what instruments I'm playing.
Oh, that's true.
Like, if I'm playing bass, I wish the band would cover some Primus. But
You like playing Primus?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. He's definitely he's doing a duo project with Sean Lennon right now.
They put out their second album
Yeah.
just a couple days ago.
I'm surprised they haven't found each other earlier, but they definitely are two quirky.
Yeah.
Interesting. Did you know he tried out for the bass player in Metallica?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
He showed up to the rehearsal and he was like, "Oh, so you want to play some Stanley Clark?" And like,
Oh, that's hilarious. So would you kind of just depending on who you were playing with, go whatever instrument was needed, or how did that? I mean,
with the bar gig stuff, it depends on the gig.
Yeah.
Like,
You're
I'd
the
have a
utility
buddy
player?
ask me to fill in playing bass, or another friend would ask me to come fill in playing guitar.
right.
Or just my buddy Brant and I had a thing going for probably 12 years where we'd do duos with either me on a drum and him on guitar, or me on bass and him on guitar, or both of us on guitars. And
Right.
if the gig paid better, we'd grab more people and
Right.
we'd either find a drummer or a bass player, and just whichever one we didn't get covered, I would play.
Right.
Well, for as long as I've known Lukas, he's always been like a chameleon of talents. He's like, you don't hang out with him for 2 weeks,
Right.
and then you go over and he's like, oh, check it out, I got a yo-yo, and he's like the shit with this yo-yo. And then you go hang out 3 months later. It's like there's always something. He's just the way his brain works. He's like, oh, I'm going to do this, and he'll devote everything to that
I
until he
always
gets
have
good
to
at
have
it.
toys with me.
Right.
Like, there's a ukulele in my car right now. I've been describing it to people as my emotional support instrument.
That's awesome. What do you do, Lukas?
I build high-end boutique guitars.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's an amazing job. How did
I like
you?
it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how'd you fall into that? Was that just I had a passion for it, and I
I've
found somebody?
Always done like mod work and stuff on guitars since I was like 15,
Yeah.
wrapping them out and changing pickups and stuff.
Wow.
I worked for PRS for a little while.
Did you?
And yeah, factory work like that is just not fun. I left and did a bunch of other stuff, toured around playing music for a little while and things like that.
Did you do factory stuff like over in Stevensville, where their factory is?
Yeah,
Okay.
I worked there for a short period of time, but
Okay.
was always into guitars. And then Joe Nags, the guy that ran private stock and R&D at PRS for like 25 years, left and opened his own shop.
Ah,
And I went to work for him like 9 years ago.
okay. Haven't looked back since.
Oh, hell no.
And you're in Easton now.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a drive. And you come to Annapolis a lot, though, don't you?
For gigs and stuff.
Yeah.
I try not to come up as often just to hang out anymore because
Right.
the whole sitting at a bar all night and driving home is not a good idea.
Absolutely.
In Easton, I can just walk to the bar. It's about a block and a half from my apartment.
And you're good. Yeah. Hey, nothing wrong with that. And then, Johnny, you worked at Guitar Center for a long time, no?
I sold musical instruments for 18 years.
Did you?
Yeah.
Right out of high school, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So how was that? Was that like something that you were like, if I can't be a rock god, this is like the next best thing? Or kind of same question for you, Lukas.
Well, I was sort of graduating high school. One of the promises I sort of made to myself is, as long as I'm making a living in something related to music,
Yeah.
I think I'll be happy. And so that was, it was like, there was a guitar shop in Annapolis, Garrett Park. I would go in there and hang out all the time. I was first name basis with everybody. I was always respectful.
Right.
For all the years I worked in guitar.
You were on a douchey team?
In guitar stores, I can tell you how many people come in there and are not respectful.
I'm sure.
But it was one day I was working, and the owner of the place said, "You're here all the time anyway. Why don't I just pay you for it?"
Nice.
And I was like, "Really? Are you offering me a job?" And I quit my job at McDonald's the next day.
Ah.
And
anyone
I worked there for 5 years, and then I worked for Guitar Center for 13.
Is that right?
And I was when I left, I was the store manager of the Glen Burnie store. So,
Okay.
But I think I took the music instrument retail to its natural fruition.
Yeah.
I had reached a point where once I was at the top and was succeeding at the top, it still was not enough money for what I needed to do.
Yes. Yes. Isn't that the shitty part, as artists especially, where it's not as lucrative unless there's certain aspects of art and rock and music and everything that has its lucrative, but for the most part, for the rest of us, it's not always like, I can't live off of this, and that sucks because it's like, this is what I love to be doing, but I gotta go get a real job.
Well, that's the thing, is that in the nature of just the business,
right,
the money's just not there.
Right.
So it's like, I can't be mad at Guitar Center for not paying me enough money. They're not pulling the amount of money that Best Buy is pulling. They're not pulling the amount of money that Target or Walmart or whoever, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't take it personally, but it is weird that I'm now a furniture store manager.
Right.
I'm third in command, and my salary is almost $20,000 a year more than it was, I guess, at Guitar Center as a store manager.
Right.
So, I mean, it was a natural transition for me, but, yeah, I mean, I did the guitar store thing for 18 years. I think I got my taste.
You both are probably from, between factory work and guitar store work, you could probably classify yourselves as experts in that sense, right? I mean,
100%.
that's,
Oh, yeah, like what I do now versus the factory work at PRS, like I'm still building, but any given step of the process.
Yeah.
Like I might go to the lumberyard in Pennsylvania one day to pick out mahogany, and the next day I'll be wiring and setting up guitars.
Right. That's amazing. That's a great job.
I run the CNC machine. I do a lot of hand carving with gouge chisels. Like
that's cool.
Every day.
Every day.
It's never a monotonous come in and do the same thing all day every day like it was at the other place.
Right. And I mean, I'm sure you knew the instrument inside and out before, but there's got to be something. I mean, if I'm building cameras, then I'm going to know
learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Just as surely as I superglue myself to something every day.
Yeah, I mean, but that was the thing that I considered going and working for Paul Reed Smith, but that was the thing that kept me away. Is
that place takes it out of you.
My brain doesn't work. My brain doesn't work that way. If you go, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to take a fretboard and you're going to slide out the lines.
Right.
And then you're going to put that fretboard down. You're going to take another fretboard.
Yeah.
You're going to slide out those lines.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're going to do this 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for the next 6 months. And hey, maybe we'll get you a promotion and you'll start putting the frets in with a little dab of super glue.
Right.
Maybe put in an inlay. Right. And then you'll just do that all day for 8 hours.
And when I worked there, the last thing I wanted to do when I got home is pick up a guitar.
Right.
Whereas now I'll stay at work and plug in my pedal board to the Twin and crank it up.
Well, so what made me decide, okay, the factory thing's not for me. My next door neighbor at my parents' house, I found out he worked at the Paul Reed Smith factory. Mm-hmm. He came in the store and I was like, "Oh, you work?" He's like, "What do you do?" He was the inlay guy, and I was like, "Oh, that must be awesome." And he literally was like, "I look through a magnifying glass all day. I take a dab of super glue, I put it in a laser cut hole in the shape of a bird." I take that bird and I press it in.
Right.
And then I slide the fretboard down 3 inches, I put a dab of super glue, and I put the next bird in that hole. And that's literally what I do all day long. And I was like, I couldn't do that.
No.
Could not do that.
That was actually me at the newspaper. Everybody thinks, oh, you're a newspaper journalist. That's a respectable thing, and I went to college and all that fun adulty stuff. But it was kind of a similar thing where journalism writing is very, very monotonous and structured, and there's not, I'm writing for a living, I'm taking pictures for a living, but it all has to be a certain thing, a certain way. You can't do certain things, you have to do certain things. And it was just like, okay, it was good for, experience and everything, but as far as just same with you guys, where it was just like, no, my creative soul needs to expand and be more, So let's get real quick to changing gears a little bit, but not completely. So I have asked both of you the reunion committee has asked you guys to play at our reunion, our 20-year reunion. Yeah. Have you guys talked a little bit about what you might play for that hour set? What is...
well, that's what's funny is when we perform together, most of what we play would be appropriate for...
Yeah,
because it'll be that time period.
We play a lot of 90s.
Nice.
So I don't think it'll be a problem.
It'll be a problem. Yeah, no, definitely. I know I'm really excited. I fought for the live music thing because I love DJs, don't get me wrong, and we've hired a really good DJ.
Right. Yes, we did.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. But I don't know, maybe it's just the way I grew up, and obviously I'm a music, kind of person, so the live music I was wanting to make sure, and I'm glad that you guys said yes to that.
I think it's just going to be fun to switch it up.
Yes, absolutely. Do you guys worry at all when you're playing? Like, is it more nerve-wracking to play in front of strangers versus people that you maybe grew up with or knew a little bit? I mean, will it be any different at the reunion, say, than it would be going down to open mic at O'Brien's? I mean, O'Brien's, I'm sure there's a Broadneck reunion every night there, isn't there?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There is like this little fear in the back of my head that maybe one or two of my major high school crushes will be there.
Nice.
And
can we talk about those?
No, we cannot.
Oh, come on! No,
I will say one night I was at a bar in Annapolis. This was maybe 10 years ago, so I'd been graduated for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And a girl that I had a very serious crush on, and I thought she didn't know I existed. But now years have passed, and I've gained a little bit of confidence. She walks into the bar. I was in the middle of a conversation with a couple of my guy friends. She walked in, and I went, "I'll be right back." And I literally walked right up, said, "You probably don't remember me, but we had this class and this class together." And she goes, "Oh, yeah. Got the digits, just like that. Just walked right up. And so after years of high school, of being afraid to talk to her, the nerdy guy got the digits.
Nice.
So my husband happens to be a big nerd, and I don't think I would have given them a time of day in high school, and that makes me really sad because he's fucking amazing. So yeah, I mean it's the nerdy guys. I think it's definitely the nerdy guys. Well, the musician nerdy guys, in my opinion.
Yes.
They're the ones. But so give me a couple songs or at least bands that we can kind of hope to expect a little bit. What do you guys think? I mean, I don't want to like limit to what you do and don't do.
Our graduation song.
Yeah.
Was Green Day.
Oh, okay.
Green Day.
Time of Our Lives.
Time of Our Lives.
Yes.
That was our song. So we have to play that.
Yeah,
wasn't that everybody's graduation?
It seemed like it. A wedding song.
But they did come out that year, I think. It was appropriate for that year.
I just know that it was also the song at my sister's like 2 years later.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was our graduation song. So we'll definitely play that.
Right.
But I think most of the rest will be upbeat. Probably Tonic, If You Could Only See.
Okay.
She Loves Me.
Yeah.
Maybe a little Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay.
Maybe. I really haven't decided on a full set, but Gin Blossoms would be good.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, I mean, we play a lot of 90s stuff. So,
yeah.
I mean, we're going to try to keep it upbeat, but we do have to. I think we do have to do that Green Day song because that was our graduation song.
I am very glad, by the way, that Green Day is involved, even if it's that song. That was actually my very first concert, Baltimore Arena, Dookie tour. It was amazing. I love that show. I still talk about that show to this day, and I'm still love that Green Day still.
Never saw Green Day live.
No, oh man, Billy Joe. He's still on my list. I mean, he's my man.
He's Billy a badass.
Joe. I love Billy Joe.
He's a certified badass.
Yeah, exactly. So that's cool. And then, Lucas, what you gonna play drums, or are you gonna plug in guitar as well?
I'm probably just gonna play my little 2-piece beat kit.
I was gonna say, is that usually what it works when you guys are sort of together?
Do little bar gigs, yeah.
Yep.
I know that there's a special bond between bass and drummers. There's that rhythm section situation. What about the relationship between guitar and especially in a two-piece? I mean, there's only that.
I am a rhythm guitar player.
Yeah.
If you ask me to describe my playing, I am not a solo guy.
Yeah.
I know we were talking.
Yeah, I was going to say, you taught me about solos.
Yeah, I was going to say, me.
You can play a solo, though. It's just not your...
It's not my thing.
Yeah.
It's not my thing. Like, when even after all the years of working in guitar stores and stuff, the Steve Vais and the Joe Satrianis of the world, they do absolutely nothing for me.
Right.
The people that I don't care. I don't. It does nothing for me.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've definitely evolved and turned off the road to where I am a quote unquote rhythm guitar player.
Okay, real quick then.
So I lock in with drums.
Yeah. So name some of your rhythm influences. Then I'm curious now.
I think the best rhythm guitar player in the history of rock and roll is James Hetfield.
He is really good. I will give him that. Actually, interesting.
Didn't see that coming, but I can't really argue.
I would.
Interesting.
I would punt an infant to have
so
that man's right wrist.
You'd rather be James than Kurt.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, okay. And you'd better be better than Lars. I'm sure you are.
Yes.
Do you have any triggers?
I'll go ahead and give him that with it so he doesn't have to be humble. Yes.
Well, what about you? What are some drumming influences for you, Lucas?
Oh, God, Stuart Copeland.
Oh, nice. Do you play a lot of reggae style kind of drum or new wave?
Depends on the gig.
Depends on the gig. Okay. You are a chameleon.
That short time that I took private lessons on a drum kit, the teacher asked if I wanted to be able to play drums or if I want to be a good drummer. I said I want to be a good drummer. So it was half-hour snare drum and half-hour kit, and he made me learn like basics of rock, jazz, Latin, disco, like
the whole.
Yeah, he had me sitting there doing bossa nova groups and stuff like that.
Right.
And definitely having that foundation under it, moving on, makes it really cool.
Right.
It's like one of the bands I play with, Ginger Cats. It's just me and two girls that sing and play guitar.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
And they'll pull out like Sade Smooth Operator.
Ooh. And
I'm like, oh, cool. And I'll turn the snare off to a little timbali and pull out little Latin grooves on it.
Awesome.
And it's fun as hell.
Yeah. That's very cool. Now, one thing I did want to ask you guys, I know of some of the musician friends that I kind of was in orbit with, you guys among them. Who were some of the people that we went to school with maybe that maybe don't play anymore, but maybe you remember playing along with? Were there anybody that kind of stick out? I know obviously you two have a history together.
I mean, there's some that still do. Christian Mathis has a band doing it.
Oh my gosh, Christian Mathis.
Yeah, his band
Is he still
Veer
playing
with
bass?
He did a band
Ryan
called
Fowler.
Veer with Ryan Fowler.
He used to play in a band with Dan Turner and Chris Lowry and somebody else.
Yep. Same Christian Mathis. Yes, he still plays.
Yes, I love that guy.
Yeah, I love
That's
I always
awesome.
love Christian. I still love Christian.
I haven't heard that name, but he was like a year younger, wasn't he? Or was he in our class?
I don't know.
No, he was in our class.
He was in our class? Okay, yeah.
He's got a kid now, too.
Yes, he does.
Nice.
He still plays. Who else was in our graduating class? Was Ragsdale 99?
He was 2000.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
pretty
that's
sure.
good. Yeah, one
But
year
you play
after
along
us.
with Jeremy a little bit? How was his...
He drops in to my open mic every once in a while. I've been hosting an acoustic open mic at O'Brien's in downtown Annapolis every Monday for about a decade.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's been a while.
Time.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, did you guys watch him on that Russian X Factor thing?
It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Wasn't that crazy to be like, I know that dude?
Yeah.
Yep.
Somebody told me, and I was
Well, what was funny when I saw that video, I got flashbacks of, I remember my senior year talent show, Jeremy Ragsdale came up and he played bells.
okay, yes, I remember.
And it was so impressive.
Right.
My initial thought in my head was, fuck you, dude.
right.
For real. You know, because like, it was like, I thought I was...
about him singing. He's a monster piano player.
Yeah, that was the
too.
thing. Like, it was one of those things where I thought I was talented, and then I saw him do that and was like, yeah, that's the real deal. Right
It's kind of like when Clapton saw Hendrix for the first time.
Yeah,
it was
no,
like,
I mean, it's just Ragsdale is extremely gifted.
wow, that's
and he's obviously still doing it. He just did the whole, was it Russia's Got Talent? What was it?
right. I thought it was like Russia or Romania or
Romania.
It was a Romanian X Factor.
That's what it was, Romanian X
Yeah,
Factor.
and he won.
I couldn't remember what the show name was.
It was
Yeah, he
some Eastern
won.
European. Yeah. Did he ever?
He moved there too.
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he ever play with Grilled Lincolns?
Yeah.
He did, right?
Uh-huh.
I actually
Played
saw
keyboards with him.
Grilled Lincolns. There was
He might not admit it all the time.
Okay, I was wondering about that because I've seen Grilled Lincoln since, and they actually opened. They were at the Frozen Harbor Music Festival and opened for Method Man and Redman. Wow. These like group of white boys come on right before Method Man and Redman, and everybody's like, "What the fuck is this?" And they killed it. They by the end, they were like, everybody's like, "Yeah, I'm out," you know. But somebody told me that Jeremy was in it, and I guess since I've seen Grilled Lincolns, I hadn't seen his.
That was years ago.
Okay, it was a while ago. Okay,
He played with them when they were still playing the
So
Whiskey.
who else in our
Gotcha.
class was Gambone? Mike
He
Gambone
was over us.
That's what I
He
thought.
was a
They were
couple
98
years.
or
Yeah, he
97.
was 98.
what about like I
I
know?
he still plays.
Okay, yeah. Who else? I'm trying to remember people from our guitar class, some of which You know, Brian Keeney, obviously.
Jason Booz, I think, still plays.
Jason Booz, I believe, still
okay.
plays.
Yep.
I believe Keeney still plays.
I think he does.
I don't think he gigs or anything, but I'm sure he still has a guitar in the room somewhere.
I'm sure he's definitely got a handful of instruments sitting
Absolutely.
around.
I remember a kid named Mike Finn. I don't think he ended up graduating with us, but he was there for a little bit in guitar.
Remember Mike Finn.
He used to play drums. I think he
Exactly.
started playing guitar and stuff since then.
Yeah.
He's mostly a photographer now. I haven't seen...
Is that right?
Just as far as what I see on Facebook. I
wow.
see him post about music.
Yeah, I lost touch with that one.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have a lot of people from Broadneck coming to your open mic nights? Have you recognized some faces over the years?
Over the years, yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe not as regularly. We're all old and parents and stuff sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah, there was one girl who, I don't know if she worked at O'Brien's or if she just worked in the area, but she would come in, every time she'd come into O'Brien's, she'd be blitzed. Just blitzed. And there were some nights she would remember me and be like, Johnny, Poulos, how have you been? So good to see you. And then 6 months later, she'd walk in and she wouldn't recognize me at all. And she'd come up and request a song and have no idea who I was. And she'd come in a week later and be like, Johnny, Poulos. Like, it was really funny.
Wow.
That's so
I can't remember her name, though, so I don't really feel bad.
Okay.
She remembered my name.
She remembered your name.
I can't feel
Beer
bad.
Fest. She had to get trashed to remember.
I guess.
Oh my God, Beer Fest! Yes. Where's the secret passage? I don't know. We gotta get drunk first. That's an amazing movie. Well, is there anything that you want to plug? We're probably gonna put this on in the next couple of weeks. Is there anything upcoming that I can plug for you guys, other than obviously our really amazing 20-year reunion?
Booked that far in advance right now.
Just
what is it? March 28th, maybe.
What's going on March 28th? And
Federal House.
Federal House.
O'Brien's open mic nights Mondays at 9.
Every Monday at 9.
Okay, definitely. So come down. I know sometimes you'll have to miss for voice or kids or things, but for the most part, you're there.
Anytime I do, I have a sub, though. I try to keep the open mic going whether I'm there or not.
Are you still in Annapolis, by the way?
I'm in Riva.
Oh, okay. So you're fairly new. You're fairly close. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we're at Federal House March 28th.
Okay, March 28th. What time you guys going?
We started like
That's
8.
at 8.
Okay.
8 to midnight.
Excellent. I'm really excited. I know we kind of had a couple of false starts with this, but I really appreciate you guys coming in.
It's all good. I had fun.
Yeah, Johnny, Poulos, Lukas, Fronzoli. They will be playing Federal House on March 28th. Johnny's always around O'Brien's in downtown Annapolis.
Yeah.
Open mic night starts at 9, and then of course
That's on Mondays.
Oh, that was on Monday. Excuse me. And of course they'll be serenading their classmates at our 20-year reunion. I still can't believe. Do you guys feel 20 years older?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Only physically.
Exactly. Mentally, not so much. I still feel like that. Physically, I hurt a little bit more. Yep. I have a little bit more gray in my hair, for sure. Cool, guys. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Yep.
Definitely.